Hello, friends. I'm Lynn Shilitek with the Good News team. Today, let's meet the Venerable Denise Schiavone, Archdeacon of the Episcopal Diocese of Maryland. Join our co-hosts, Deacons John Shematek and Lauren Welsh, as we bring you another podcast episode in our second season of Good News, all about people making a difference in the world.
Welcome, Denise Schiavone. We're glad you're here with us on the Good News podcast today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with my two fellow deacons.
Yeah, Deacons Rock, as Lauren keeps saying. Yeah, we're just thrilled. What did you want to talk with us and our audience about today?
I was giving that some thought, and when I started thinking about the different things that came to mind, I was focused on a theme of empowering others in their gifts. We really need to do now more than others, something that I think deacons are certainly uniquely positioned and equipped to do.
So Denise, how about sharing what the diaconate is and how do deacons live out that call of empowering people?
Deacons serve as a bridge between the church and the world. We help point the church out the doors of the sanctuary to the world where there are various needs that we can serve and help others to serve. The fact that we work in the world, most of us, is actually a perfect alignment because we're working in the world, we are working in the church, so we are bivocational, or what some people call co-vocational. And I think it really allows us to bring to people's attention the needs of the world when we're at church, and also to minister in our own ways, not with a collar on, of course, but minister in our own ways when we're in our secular vocations.
So, Denise, maybe we should talk a little bit about you and how you found yourself in this position of being a deacon. You've been a deacon for 5 years, and
Yes.
more recently, you have assumed the role of archdeacon. Tell us a little bit about that. What's that meant for you? And what does it mean for us as deacons in the church, as well as everyone else?
Well, as archdeacon, I serve the bishop in overseeing the deployment and formation of deacons in Maryland. What that means is I have big shoes to fill. The previous archdeacon served for 8 years, and there was another archdeacon, and I stepped into a role that has been well filled and people have been well taken care of. For me, it means I'm trying to figure out ways that I can help people to use their gifts in this current environment. We're meeting so many different challenges right now across the diocese that I think we need to find creative ways to do things, um, reimagining the way we do ministry. And I see myself as trying to help make those connections with people.
Denise, what are some of the ways that you would like to see changing?
Love to grow the deacons that we have. The numbers right now are pretty slim, right? We have 19 deacons actively serving in parishes. So I'm hoping that we can figure out ways to do more given the resources that we have. So how can we be more impactful in the ways that we serve as deacons? One of the ways that I'm hoping that we can do that, it's a small way, but it's a start. We came up with a program called the Deacon Engagement and Evangelism Program. We are sending deacons out to visit parishes other than their own. A deacon will visit a congregation that does not have a deacon assigned there. They'll serve in worship, preach, teach adult formation, engage with people at coffee hour, and have a conversation about what people are excited about in terms of their own ministry in the world.
And you've done some of these, right? How has it gone?
I will say this, the first one was a softball because I picked the first Episcopal church that I ever worshiped at as my first visiting location. So they were really happy to welcome me. Both of the places that I visited, people have been very welcoming and curious. They've been curious about what is a deacon? What does a deacon do? How is a deacon different than a priest? How do deacons work together with lay people? And so there's those basic questions because some of them have either never been exposed to deacons or it's been a very long time. Then we get to those questions around what are you interested in? That's what I like to ask them. What are some of the things that keep you up at night that you think you might have a gift to address? Those are the conversations I've really enjoyed with folks. We have 4 other visitors going out as well, and they're having those great conversations. It's sparking that connection and dialogue around how we can meet the needs of the world.
I think you're absolutely right, Denise, when you said that we need this now more than ever. I was wondering, you mentioned there are a few deacons attached to parishes. Is there a goal of having a certain number of deacons? Because that's been a goal for many years in this diocese, like a deacon in every parish. Another potential way, and I'm wondering about how you are approaching this in your visits, is to talk about the diaconia of all believers, or the servant role that all baptized people have.
I don't have a number in mind, and I have never heard our bishop have a number in mind. Would it be great to have a deacon in every congregation? Sure, it would be great. But that's not on my list of goals. When we visit congregations, it would be great if somebody came and said, "Hey, I'm really interested in discerning a call to be a deacon." And that happened at my last visit. And that's wonderful. That's not our goal when we go in to talk to folks. I think it's more about the diaconia of all believers. How are we helping people to think creatively about where their gifts match what's going on in the world? And that can be difficult because I think people don't often see their own gifts. Deacons are uniquely equipped to help people see their gifts and how they can use those. Finding ways to help people think creatively about that and also help embolden them. So it's empowering and emboldening them to feel like they can go out and do that, even in small ways. John, what you said about now more than ever, this is important because people are feeling helpless. They are scared, they are frustrated, they are angry. Sometimes it can be hard to see that you have a passion, a gift, and you might think that's the smallest thing, but that can be life-changing for somebody. I have an example of this. At my last parish, we had a group discerning how to respond to the refugees fleeing Afghanistan when the U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan. We had a months-long discernment process because the congregation was thinking about sponsoring this family from Afghanistan. That's a big deal. We went through this process and decided to go ahead and sponsor this family. And one of the parishioners, her name is Pat, came to me and said, "I'm at the stage of my life now where I'm really not going to be able to do much. I'd like to help, but it's going to be limited. It's going to be behind the scenes. My health isn't great." She said, "So I'll do what I can, but I'm really not going to be able to be on the front lines." And I said, "Oh, okay, that's great. Whatever you can do." And then I sat back and I watched as Pat became somebody who greeted this family upon their arrival in Howard County from Afghanistan, somebody who pastored to them in their trauma because there was a lot of trauma they had experienced, and somebody they ultimately called Mima, which is the Afghan word, the term of endearment like grandma. And so Pat thought her gifts were very small, and in actuality, they were huge for this family, huge.
So I'm really glad to hear that you're doing this. What has surprised you the most as you have gone out to these parishes?
I've been surprised at how much I enjoy going out to visit. I'm a proud introvert, and it's not my favorite thing to go into places that I'm not really familiar with and stand up at the pulpit and connect with people who are strangers. I've just really enjoyed it. It's fed my soul, these conversations that I've had with folks and the passion that I'm seeing they have for people on the margins, for vulnerable communities. People are hungry to do something and to make a difference. That's really exciting to me, and it's powerful for me to experience.
There can be a real challenge in that too, because people, as you said earlier, Denise, aren't aware of their gifts. Very often, in my experience, if you've attempted to name the gifts that they have and affirm that, people are sometimes surprised. They're so grateful, especially for someone that wears a collar, to be saying, "Yeah, you have an amazing gift for being available or for listening," which is our theme, really is about listening. That's a challenge, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is a challenge. I think it's also a challenge demographically as well. we're hoping to excite young people who are hungry to make a difference in the world. We need to find ways to do that. We need to meet people where they are. My own daughter is 23, and she every day wakes up and says, "Oh my God, what is happening in this world?" And I think she feels helpless. So, people her age and in that demographic are really looking for ways that they can make a difference inside the church, outside the church. I'm speaking really broadly. So, if we can help people by having honest and authentic conversations, I think all of that helps.
Those young people have different ideas, and they are the ones that are going to have to come up with plan Bs, plan Cs. You're trying to get people to do. So I think that would be really helpful if we can really be in conversation with them. They're really smart kids out there. They are, and some of them are really doing some good work already.
They're smart, they're creative, and they have amazing insight into people's needs and how to really connect with people. I don't know if this is factual, if we can verify this, but I'm going to venture to say that in the Episcopal Diocese of Maryland, we have, if not the youngest, one of the youngest postulants in deacon formation ever. We can fact check me on that. He's got to be one of the youngest. And
He's
so
one. Yeah.
he is one of the youngest, if not the youngest, 22 years old, which is amazing. Can't be ordained until he is 24 by the canons. But just to have a conversation with him and really hear him express what's on his heart and mind and what he hopes for the future of the church. We Episcopalians talk about be welcoming, inclusive via media. He and his colleagues have another perspective on what that means. What does it really mean to be radically welcoming and inclusive? How are we doing that? How are we living into that? We think we're doing that. We hope we're doing it. Are there other ways that we can grow into that?
And there's many more like him out there if we reach out to them.
Yeah.
There really are.
Think about it. We're church outside the sanctuary much more than we are inside the sanctuary, right? Think about how much time we spend in church. If you count Sunday mornings and maybe an evening meeting, it pales in comparison to the amount of time that we are spending out in the world.
Denise, you've got some other deacons that are doing the DEEP or DEEP, Deacon Evangelism, and it's an engagement in evangelism, right?
We debated using the evangelism word because many folks are a little nervous about that word. But we landed on, no, that's a good word. We're going out and connecting with people and bearing prophetic witness about the good news. I can't think of a better word than evangelism.
Yeah, that's right. And it's all about bringing the good news. That's why we're doing this in our
Small way.
It's what you were saying when going to make your visits. It's unexpectedly fun. There is just fun in this. It's a different kind of fun than serving at the altar and preaching from the pulpit, but it's where there is a deep joy, I think. And I know, Lauren, you share that sense as well. So yeah, this is what we're meant to be doing. That's how you know what you're meant to be doing. I think this is great. A very bold thing that you're doing with Deep. And it's really, I'm sure it's going to make an impact. I don't know if we're going to have dozens of new deacons, but I think the other thing that I really appreciate, Denise, is just from your professional background, as well as knowing some things about you in your personal skill set, is your creativity and your communication skills and so on that you have had in your secular life. How wonderful that is to translate the needs of the world and the needs of the church to one another, and to translate the need for the diaconia of all believers out there. You're well suited for this role.
It's funny that you said that because it's only recently, probably in the last 6 months, that I've really felt this strong alignment between my two vocations. And there's many reasons for that. But as you mentioned, I'm in strategic communications and I'm a storyteller. And I see that playing out both in my secular job, where I get paid to do that, but also the more we can tell people stories in the church, the more we can tell stories about what we're seeing and witnessing, and good stories about what people are doing to make a difference. that spreads. I feel like that's contagious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the story. Exactly what you guys are doing. Yeah.
And we want that to be contagious.
That's the other thing I love about your podcast is that it's broad, it's ecumenical, bigger than the Episcopal Church or even the church. I love that because I think also that part of this connection in churches and helping people connect with the needs of the world is broad in the sense that we can be looking for ways to do that with people of other faith traditions, people of no faith tradition, people of goodwill wanting to make a difference. That refugee ministry I mentioned is a great example of that. They started with one congregation and they partnered with another Episcopal church and a Lutheran church and the Quakers and then a Jewish temple. Now they are a 7 faith community ministry supporting 7 different refugee families. Look what the Spirit did with that. And I love to see that collaboration because I think that's going to be critical to meeting all these different needs that we have out in the world and to helping marginalized and vulnerable groups of people.
Good deeds, multiplication of faith in whatever way. And again, you're right. It's not just us and our denomination or any denomination. We do have the spiritual but not religious folks. If the Spirit is leading them, fantastic. That's great.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
And Lauren, I know you probably have another question up your sleeve.
Before we leave,
Guys.
you have shared what your dreams are and what you are working towards. And you've just begun at this time in the times that we live. What wisdom would you like to share with them?
I want to encourage people to try to be as courageous as possible in taking their gifts out into the world. And I know that's a hard thing to do. It can be hard to speak truth amid all the noise and the loud voices we have going on out there. Even just that littlest bit, that one statement, that one moment can make a difference. It can be scary. I hope that people also can see failure as an opportunity to grow and learn and that mistakes are okay. We can make missteps, try something out and fumble and falter, and it will be okay. There will be good that comes out of it, regardless of whether we can see it or not. It might be a leap sometimes, but try to have a little bit of confidence and just take that step because we need everybody's gifts.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was great. Archdeacon Denise Schiavone, we are so glad that you've been with us today. I really appreciate your time. I know you are super busy with all aspects of
No busier than anybody else. We are all busy, but thank you for having me. I've enjoyed this. I don't get to spend time with you guys together very much, so this is awesome.
yeah.
It's been delightful, Denise. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bo.
And John, I want to thank all who are watching and listening for the gift of your time with us today. Until next time, peace and blessings.
This episode of Good News has been brought to you by Listening for Clues. For more podcasts, check out our YouTube channel or our website listeningforclues.com. Thanks for being with us today.